Well, from there, Melissa, we are hearing the story tonight of an Oregon woman who was murdered in December of last year. Her loved ones are wondering, what if?
Well, that's because the killer's cousin called 911 10 minutes before the murder to tip off police. Amanda Fay followed up with law enforcement and the 911 Center for Lucas County to see if her death was a tragic twist of fate or a killing that could have been prevented.
It just doesn't make any sense because prior to him calling, I called a whole half an hour before and even said, you know, it's that my family is in danger.
911, where's your emergency?
He does have a criminal history. He was released again from prison again this summer.
Johanna Crawford knew she was going to be a victim of a murder. She says Malcolm Fisher said as much the day before police say he shot and killed her.
The father of my grandchild has said that he is going to kill my husband and myself. This is not the first time he's made a threat towards us.
I just heard some gunshots next door to my neighbor's yard.
Malcolm Fisher committed violent crimes in the past, being charged with robbing multiple people at gunpoint. He was just released from jail in the summer of 2021. And a week before Crawford's death, Malcolm Fisher is accused of punching a woman in Point Place, leading to a misdemeanor assault charge.
A guy and his girlfriend from the neighborhood just literally jumped me and robbed me.
Crawford was prompted to call 911 the day before her death after her daughter said Fisher made yet another violent threat captured on voicemail.
You better call me back or your mom, your dad, and me are all dead tonight.
Ma'am, what's your address?
3165 Hazelton, Oregon, Ohio.
The next day and minutes before the homicide, Malcolm Fisher's cousin called 911. He told dispatchers Fisher was on his way to Crawford's home and wanted police to stop a murder from happening, but the exact address wasn't known.
A cousin of mine is threatening to go out there and do harm to some people, and I'm trying to get the police to get out there before he makes it out there.
So you have an address where he's supposed to be going?
He's supposed to be going at, I think it's 3110 Hazelton.
With Malcolm Fisher minutes from Crawford's home, there's confusion over the exact address.
1365 Hazel.
Can you spell the street?
It's in Oregon, 1365 Hazelhurst or Hazel something.
Okay, Hazel. Here, let's see. You said it's in Oregon? Hazelhurst? Or no, is it Hazelton?
Yeah. About 10 minutes after Fisher's cousin first called 911, Johanna Crawford, a 66-year-old grandmother, was killed.
11 Investigates did some digging to see if officials did everything by the book. I had a lot of questions for the two police departments involved, as well as for the newly consolidated 911 dispatch center. But first, let's take you back to December 15th, the day before Crawford died.
I didn't like what he was saying. He was starting to kill me, my mom, and kidnap my daughter. So I get out the car and proceeded to walk away from him. He tried to chase me down. Seemed like he was gonna run me over with his car.
Elizabeth Huber is detailing an argument she and Malcolm Fisher had on Joel and Albion Streets in Toledo the day before the deadly shooting. The two have a child together. Huber's mother, Johanna Crawford, had legal custody, along with Huber's father.
I ended up calling the cops and waiting for about a half an hour to almost an hour before they showed up.
A joint statement from Lucas County 911 and Oregon Police issued on December 23rd shows the Toledo police officers who responded to Huber's call drafted a domestic dispute report. The officers weren't aware that Fisher had an active misdemeanor warrant for his arrest for the alleged assault in Point Place the week prior.
I ended up calling my mom that night to just let her know what happened the following day.
Huber says while she was on the phone with her mother, Fisher left this threatening voicemail.
You better call me back or your mom, your dad, and me are all dead tonight.
911, where's your emergency?
Later that night, Johanna Crawford called 911 to report the threat.
Did he tell your daughter what his plan was?
He said that he had a gun.
Why didn't dispatchers know the situation when Malcolm Fisher's cousin called 911 24 hours later to warn he was headed to Crawford's home?
Oregon's police chief tells me the 911 dispatch center has access to police department notes. However, everything is in the system according to address, and without the correct address, the dispatcher was in the dark.
I gave them the information I knew. They told me just to stay calm and that they will figure something out. And then my dad called me right after I got done talking to the cops, and basically it told me that my mom was shot and killed and my daughter was kidnapped and missing.
Fisher was arrested a few hours after Crawford was killed.
I love you, baby. I love you. I love you. I did it. We have him on custody.
His and Huber's daughter was found with him, safe. WTOL 11 reached out to Toledo Police and also to the 911 center multiple times to get answers. The assistant Lucas County prosecuting attorney said, quote, "We do not comment on matters that may be the subject of litigation."
Her life would have probably still been here if Oregon and Toledo Police would have done more about it. To me, that's how I feel.
Chief Brandon Began of the Oregon Police Department tells me he believes protocol was followed by his department, including stepping up patrols near Crawford's home. While the request for an interview with the 911 center was denied, I submitted an open records request to see if any dispatchers were disciplined as a result of the events on December 16th. I'm told none were. For 11 Investigates, I'm Amanda Fay.
Malcolm Fisher entered an Alford plea about a month ago, meaning he didn't admit guilt but acknowledged there is enough evidence to convict him.
A judge sentenced him to 30 years to life in prison.